Good morning, Matthew. Good morning, everybody. It's a cold and frosty morning here at Highash Farm. We've had some rain, over 30 millimetres. That's over an inch in old money. So this morning you have a very happy farmer, because we were really worried about the amount of rain we haven't had during February and the first part of March. Well, I'm standing in the garden at Highash Farm, and at my feet is a very large bucket which is half full of bread offcuts from the local bakery, from some high protein dog food as well, and I'm now about to feed to something very strange, and it's all due to a huge change in agricultural practice. Right, I'm going to pick the bucket up, there we go, and just walk out into the middle of my lawn where there's lots of molehills. Moles are very welcome at Highash Farm, and we're just going to tip the bucket on the ground like this. There we go. There's about 5 kilos of food there. I've got a little camera in my hand, and what has changed is the way farmers are farming. I'm just going to point the little camera to the sky, and above me, let's hope we don't get bombed, are a whole mixture of gulls flying around over my head. And the reason that they're here is they are starving hungry because of this change in agricultural practice. Right, I'm just going to walk away a little bit, going to walk backwards, and we'll demonstrate how hungry these birds are. I'm about 20 feet away, and here they come. There's a mixture of black-head gulls, lesser black-back gulls, few Mediterranean gulls, lots of juvenile lesser black-back gulls. The rat has complained bitterly. We've just heard that I'm outside. And there we have a feeding frenzy of a whole variety of gulls. There's a Mediterranean gull there as well, just in the background. That's an amazing sight. My little rain gauge there. And what's happened is there's a huge change in farming practice, and farmers are employing something, because of the cost of fuel, min-till, which is minimal cultivation. Now, we've got around about 100 gulls there, and I can see from the condition, they're very close to me, that you can almost shave on their sternums, which shows they're really, really hungry. What they should be eating is worms and soil invertebrates, or fish, if they're around, moorland, frogs, toads, anything like that, rather than the fish and chips they might steal from you on Yarmouth seafront. We'll forget about that for a minute. These birds are hungry. We've now got about 150. They just arrived from nowhere, because basically they're just scanning around high up in the Norfolk skies looking for somebody who's ploughing. And that's the difference, because there's very little ploughing actually happening. Farmers, including this farm, we're just using min-till to put our seeds in, just really shallow cultivating, just to make the tiniest tilth in the top, popping the seeds in there, rather than deep ploughing and using absolutely masses and masses of diesel to do that. And of course it's the cost of the diesel, and the time is much less if you're min-tilling. You can get a very large field done in next to no time. And because I'm standing here quite close to that food supply, the gulls, we're not going to call them seagulls, because birds like black-head gulls and some of the lesser black-back gulls here spend 3/4 of their life inland now, nesting around quarries, small islands and things like that, and many of them don't actually get to see the seaside as such. So this is what the huge change is. They used to feed on rubbish tips as well, and the hygiene on some of our rubbish tips where lots of household waste goes is also barred for them as well. So there's a huge change in the availability of food for all these gulls. So there we are, they're just circling round. I think if I walk away a little bit more, they'll all come back again. And there, I'm just leaning on the edge of my house, propping myself up. It's early morning, still frost on the ground, and here they come back. You can hear that raucous calling, And those birds are starving hungry. And there's a whole raft of them, a whole collection of gulls. It's actually called a dread. And it looked for a moment that I was going to be attacked by around about 100 gulls. And here's that sound. Tell you what, I'm just going to point the microphone round the other way and just listen to them having breakfast. What a lovely sight, and a lovely sound as well. Bearing in mind they're hungry, I admit it's not the right food for them. They should be able to access natural food at this time of the year, but needs must. These birds are starving hungry. So it's my first good deed of the morning. It's hardly getting up time. Most people are still in bed. These birds have had an early breakfast, and perhaps they'll be back tomorrow. And if it's still cold like this, and nobody's working on the land because it's so wet on the ground this morning, they might get another treat. But at 6 o'clock this morning, there wasn't a gull in sight. Because I put that food there, they've all sort of spiraled in from every possible direction, and it's such a lovely sight. I really feel this morning as though we really have pulled the birds.